Hey everybody, welcome to the Kitchen New. Today we're going to make some pumpkin pie. Now this is a bit unorthodox for me because usually I like to make stuff from scratch, like make the pie crust from scratch, that kind of thing. But today we're going to do something different. We're going to use a pumpkin pie, a can of pumpkin. And we're going to use a frozen pie crust. This is my favorite. We'll get to this here in a minute. Now before we get started making this pie, I would ask that you hit the subscribe button so you can get direct access to future cooking videos, and I would also ask that you share this video with your friends on your favorite social media. Now let's get started. Now the source for this pumpkin pie recipe is on the back of the Libby's can of pumpkin. I've tried different brands of pumpkin. I've tried organic, I've tried pure pumpkin, stuff with pumpkin chunks in it, that kind of thing, and it seems appealing, and I kind of like the idea of it, but I've always found that this is the best pumpkin to use and the best recipe to use. You'll want to begin by preheating your oven to 425. Now if you're new to baking, the reason why you want to preheat your oven is because you don't want to put an unbaked pie into a cold oven. It doesn't bake evenly, and sometimes the consistency might come out a little strange at the end. Now let's go over our equipment that we'll need to make this pie. You're going to need a large mixing bowl. You'll need a sturdy whisk, a spatula for cleaning the sides of the cans and the mixing bowl. You'll need a can opener. You'll need a 9-inch pie baking dish. I have this nice Pyrex glass one that I like to use. And lastly, you'll need a wire rack for cooling the pie when it comes out of the oven. You'll also want some aluminum foil to use. We're going to wrap the edge of the crust around the pie before we put it in the oven so that the crust doesn't burn. Here's a list of ingredients that you'll need. You can also find the list of ingredients on the back of the Libby's pumpkin can. This is really convenient if you find yourself in the middle of the grocery store and you're wondering what you need to make a pie. Well, let's start making our pie. Start by adding the 15-ounce can of Libby's pumpkin mix to the mixing bowl. Don't throw the can away because that's got your recipe on it. Next, add your 12 fluid-ounce can of evaporated milk. Libby's recommends Carnation because they're both Nestle products. Add 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. Next is a half a teaspoon of salt. Now here we get to our spices. Let's add a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a half a teaspoon of ground ginger. Now, the recipe calls for a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, but my mom and I discovered many years ago that we liked the flavor of the pie better when we doubled the cloves. I'm putting in a half a teaspoon. Give it a try if you want. Next, we're putting in 2 large eggs. I recommend cracking these into separate small bowls in case the egg is off or maybe there's some blood in it or something. You don't want to contaminate your whole pumpkin pie mix. When all of your ingredients are in the bowl, use your whisk to mix it up. Make sure to get the bottom and the sides real good, and even use your spatula to scrape the sides and make sure all of the ingredients get incorporated nicely. For the pie crust, I followed the instructions on the package of the pie crust. You may have a crust that comes with a foil pan and is already pre-shaped, which is fine. Otherwise, be sure to follow any instructions on the crust that you've picked out, or even better, if you've made one from scratch using your own recipe or one that you found online. So, with the pie crust ready and the pumpkin pie mix ready, our next step is to pour the pie mix into the crust. Use your spatula to clean the bowl. Here's the part where we wrap the edge of our pie crust with foil. This prevents any burning in the oven. Now, we're going to put our pie into our preheated 425-degree oven. Let's set our timer for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes is up, we're going to reduce the temperature of the oven to 350 degrees and bake for another 30 to 40 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and check the pie at 30 minutes just so it doesn't overcook. To check to see if it's done, it shouldn't wobble in the middle. Also, if you shove a toothpick in the middle, it should come out relatively clean. You shouldn't see any pumpkin liquid on it. And finally, our pie is done baking. We're going to pull this out of the oven and we're going to place it on top of a wire baking rack to cool for about 2 hours. It's the longest 2 hours in history. So when our pie is finally cooled down and ready to eat, I find it's best if you use some... So when our pie is finally cooled down and ready to eat, I find it's best to put some whipped cream on it and just have at it. So when our pie is finally cooled down and ready to eat, I find it's best to just cut a big slice and put some whipped cream on it and go to town. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed making your pie as much as you enjoy eating your pie. So again, please be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and share this video with your friends and family on your favorite social media. We'll see you next time on The Kitchen Noob, and be sure to check out our blog, thekitchennoob.com too. See you guys later.